Yeah, obviously, no trooper ever shows up to work or going home from work and ever want to be involved in something that has occurred, like this morning. Our youngest troopers that just graduated from our academy class, this being one of them, is brand new to the job and still on break-in. Really, really incredible response while commuting home, and the actions that this trooper took in coordinations with this Lakeville officer was just absolutely incredible. Thank God our troopers and our officers are safe during this incident. Also, it's just something we need to focus on with individuals that we encounter. We really need to just do a really good job with understanding the elements of what we're arriving onto, what we're approaching, and this is just a crazy story.
They can never put their guard down, even just going home.
Yeah, no, I think troopers always on 24/7. No matter what, we jump into action. So that's what we do. But again, this is just a joint effort between a police officer and trooper, and that's how it is in law enforcement. We may wear different uniforms, but we're all the same team. And so it's just a really glad that everybody's safe, within this situation.
And Patrick, obviously, the troopers trained for this. He just graduated. This is all fresh in his mind. But now that it's actually happened, he's been in one of these situations. Can you talk to us about his state of mind now, and what you were talking to us about earlier in terms of emotional support?
Yeah, so that's a great question. We have an employee assistance unit that we dispatch. They're on the state police, but we help both as troopers and our local officers. Mental health and awareness for police in general is something that we as a society really need to focus on. I think we always expect a police officer or a trooper to have this hardened shell, but in reality it's just another human being, performing a role to protect the Commonwealth. This trooper, being a young trooper, there will be a toll. We will follow up with him. We will take care of him and in Lakeville PD. If they need our assistance from our troopers, from employee assistance unit, we're there to help them as well. This is a team effort and something that we really are trying to focus on, which is our mental health and wellness as police officers.
Have you been able to speak to him personally?
Yes.
And describe that conversation as much as you can tell us.
Yeah, that he's obviously nobody ever wants to go through that. So he's a strong member, strong trooper. Mentally, I think he's sound. It's just nobody ever wants to go through that. So the emotional roller coasters, probably likely in the next 24 to 48 hours of realization of what has occurred. That's pretty much like that in every situation, whether that be in a shooting for us or whether that be just a critical incident where we show up and maybe there's a fatal on the highway. These are just things that troopers, you always kind of remember you first. Whether that be this or whether that be some sort of car accident that's severe, and this is something this trooper will never forget. And thank God he was in the right place at the right time to support this Lakeville police officer in the performance of their duties.
It's got to be tough for a guy just graduated. I mean, in the first year, that's got to make it even tougher to encounter these kind of situations.
Yeah, we learn fast, I guess, right? And in this instance, this trooper did what he was trained to do and performed well.
Can you say, was he actually coming back from a training at the time?
He was ending his shift, commuting home.
Yep. You were talking about that. You said he was doing what exact arrest?
Yeah, so an extension of your shift to whether it be whatever was required at the barracks at the end of his shift. He was commuting home, and our young troopers they don't receive cruisers until after they're off break-in. Our break-in period is 3 months. And that's when they'll receive their cruisers. So they commute back and forth in a suit, while carrying all of their equipment with them, but in a suit. And then they get changed into their uniforms when they get to the barracks for their shift. This young trooper was, driving home, not in a cruiser, and, just came across something that didn't look right and then just jumped into action to support a brother law enforcement officer.
What did he tell you about his decision to not just keep driving, but to pull over and to get involved?
Yeah, he talked to our attorney, sir, but I think there's just a lot of. It's a tough question. Let's just say that.
When did he graduate?
This last class. So what was that in August?
Okay,
August 3rd, I think it was.
Oh, like last month.
Yeah. He's great now.
Wow.
And it's good.
Is that sort of the takeaway from all this? We hear police involved shooting, but the main takeaway here is this guy going forward and his health and safety and mental health? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
Yeah, I mean, I think the takeaway, and that's a great question, right? The takeaway is that no police officer ever wants to do this, like ever, right? You'd love to go your entire career and never be in a situation like this. The emotional toll on our troopers, our law enforcement professionals, their families, and their colleagues. It's a horrible phone call to get in my position to wake up to, especially the situations where I wake up. Like we just put Tamar Bucci's name engraved on the police memorial. I just took over as president. That was my first trooper I'd ever lost in my position that I am. So like to get those phone calls just for our young and then hear that, to have to respond to that, it's something that you don't forget. And look, our law enforcement officers do an incredible job. I think that we are arguably the best police officers in the country. As the troopers, our solve rate in homicides and is indicative of that. And this trooper just was in the right place at the right time, and this police officer was confronted with what the district attorney's office and the departments will put out, and they just performed. I think what you will find is appropriate.
What was your reaction to that phone call? Did you feel bad for him? Did you feel proud? A mix of those emotions.
Yeah, again, this is kind of our role. Unfortunately, I get a lot of these phone calls now. I wish that we weren't. But we just kind of jump into our role as a union to support our members, to support law enforcement, and then we work in collaboration with the departments just to try to ensure that the public feels safe and that we're moving forward. So, our role is to support the members, to support humanize that officer, that trooper. The department's role in the DA's office is then to take charges and do what they do, in their role and responsibilities.
So, in your role, Patrick, what happens now procedurally for this trooper?
Yeah, so everybody will be assigned an attorney. That's kind of what we do. Union representation, interviews by the district attorney's office will be conducted, and then they'll push forward with arraignment charges. But for us, realistically, it's providing that emotional support, working with the employee assistance unit, working with our attorneys, making sure that these members know and recognize that we're here to support them in every function. Talking with the families. Sometimes, if we have an injured officer, we may call upon maybe our benevolent fund charity to help support putting these, or even our association, to put the families up in a hotel. That's kind of our role and function. Is we're really there just to help support the members and their families as we, are in this very challenging profession.
He was not hurt though, right? He was not injured.
Not physically, no.
And was this trooper, whether procedurally or personally, is he now on leave?
So traditionally, we'll have a time of administrative leave, but that all really depends on the individual and then the circumstances that they're involved in.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
All right.
Thank you.